I am Ethan Cross. Location, Charleston, South Carolina. I met Sophia Delacroix on a humid August evening at a charity gala. She was elegance wrapped in southern charm. Perfect posture, silk blue dress, honey blonde waves tucked behind one ear. The kind of woman who made rooms fall silent when she entered. I was drawn to her instantly, not just by her beauty, but by the way she looked at me like I wasn't the richest man in the room, but the only one worth talking to. We married 11 months later. A garden wedding under magnolia trees. Strings playing Vivaldi. Guests from old money families clinking champagne flutes. My mother said it was too fast. My brother skipped the ceremony, but I didn't care. For the first time in my life, I wasn't building for profit. I was building something that felt real. Her mother, Marianne, attended in a muted gray dress. Quiet, watchful. She smiled when spoken to, but barely spoke unless asked. I figured she was the shy, old-fashioned Southern widow type. A little cold, a little protective. I didn't mind. After all, she didn't interfere. Sophia and I built a life. A home just outside Charleston. Brick, tall shutters, wraparound porch. We started a consulting firm together. Delacroix and Cross. She handled strategy. I handled legal and investment. We were unstoppable. And for 5 years, it worked. We traveled. We expanded. We celebrated every anniversary like it was the first. But then, something shifted. It started small. She canceled meetings without telling me, stashed financial documents in her private folders, made phone calls in other rooms with the door closed. When I asked her about it, she smiled. Just stress. I'm juggling a lot lately. I believed her, at first. Then the firm's accountant flagged a strange transaction, a withdrawal of $500,000 from our shared account, transferred to a private trust. When I asked Sophia, she waved it off. A tax strategy. You wouldn't understand the details. I'm a corporate attorney. There's nothing about taxes I don't understand. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked past her office door around midnight. Stopped. She was on the phone. Didn't hear me. Her voice was low, calm, different. He's still clueless. Just a little longer, and we'll have it all. A pause. Yes. I'll make sure he signs before the end of the quarter. He trusts me. I stepped back. Quietly, my chest went hollow. The woman I chose wasn't the woman I married, and I had no idea what I'd just walked into. Later that night, I opened her locked filing cabinet with an old skeleton key I'd kept from the move. Inside, dozens of documents with my signature on things I'd never signed. I sat alone on the floor of my home office, papers scattered around me like the remains of a broken truth. Sophia's locked filing cabinet hadn't held tax returns. It held contracts, legal documents, power of attorney, a new will, amended trust funds, all signed by me. But I never put ink to any of them. One document in particular made my blood run cold. Petition for legal guardianship, Ethan Cross. Reason: cognitive decline, emotional instability, possible bipolar disorder. Filed quietly, supported by a written recommendation from a psychiatrist I'd never met, Dr. Samuel H. Barrow, licensed in 2 states. No website, no patient reviews, but a signature, legally valid, was there. How long had they been planning this? Another file was a medical report. Mine. At least, that's what the letterhead said. Psych evaluation, delusional ideation, paranoia, rapid mood shifts. All nonsense. All signed and sealed. As if I were one step away from being committed. I needed proof this was fake. So I pulled up our health insurance portal. No claims from Dr. Barrow. No sessions logged. No appointment history. Whoever this doctor was, he didn't treat me. He invented me. The final folder in the cabinet had a label written in Sophia's clean script. Emergency Protocol, Phase 3. Inside, a notarized power of attorney A file with my passport copy, a checklist titled Steps to Initiate Guardianship Override and Asset Freeze. It ended with a note, only use if he resists. M. Delacroix Marianne, her mother. So it wasn't just Sophia. Her mother was behind this too. I stared at the two signatures. Mine, forged, hers, real. And that's when I realized the truth. They weren't trying to divorce me. They were trying to institutionalize me, erase my voice, steal the company, take every dollar, all legally. I flipped the final page. It was a scanned email. Subject line, transfer complete. He'll never see it coming. Sender, Marianne Delacroix. Recipient, Sophia Cross. I grew up thinking I knew my family history. The Cross name was one of old wealth, Southern legacy, and well-manicured lies. My father, Gregory Cross, ran the family firm with a cigar in one hand and secrets in the other. He died 10 years ago, heart failure, or so I was told. But the more I looked at Marianne Delacroix, the more I started questioning who she was and what she knew about my father. I went to the South Carolina Historical Library, where property records and house staff logs from the 1980s were digitized and stored. I pulled our estate's employment history, Oak Hollow Manor, Gregory Cross, owner. There it was, Marianne Holloway, live-in housekeeper, nanny start date, April 1986. End date, March 1989. I cross-referenced the dates. I would have been around 6 years old. I don't remember her, but she remembered me. I found one more record, tucked in the archived court dockets, a sealed civil complaint, filed in 1989. Petitioner, Marianne Holloway. Respondent, Gregory Cross. Charges, sexual coercion, wrongful termination, falsified statements. The file was marked settled privately. No details, just a large payout and a non-disclosure agreement. It clicked all at once. Marianne wasn't just Sophia's mother. She was the woman my father ruined, discarded and buried beneath money and influence. And Sophia wasn't born from a happy marriage. She was born from revenge. I returned home and dug through our attic. In an old trunk of family photo albums, I found one that didn't belong to my mother. No leather spine, just a cheap black binder. Inside were Polaroids, dates scrawled in pen. One photo hit me like a freight train. My father, arm around a young housekeeper, blonde, eyes hollow, belly swollen, and next to her, holding her hand, a little girl, no older than 5, Sophia. They'd been in my house before, not as guests, as victims, and now they were back, not to marry me, to finish what they started. Everything I believed about my marriage, about my wife, about love, was engineered, crafted, calculated. I wasn't chosen because I was loved. I was chosen because of my last name. I sat in my father's old study, lights dimmed, fireplace crackling like it could sense what was coming. I pulled out the pieces, the forged medical records, the false guardianship filings, the timeline of financial shifts. And now, proof that Marianne was once our housekeeper and Sophia her child. Not adopted, not coincidental, born in this house, conceived by manipulation. A box in the corner caught my eye, one I hadn't opened in over a decade. Inside were my father's journals. Gregory Cross had been many things, ruthless, charismatic, terrifying, but above all, he documented everything. In a 1988 entry, I found this. Marianne's getting too attached. She asked if we'd ever be a family. I told her to stay in her place. If she causes trouble, I'll erase her. No one will care what a maid says. I froze. He did this to her. And now She'd returned through the one opening he left behind. Me, Sophia, was never mine. She was raised to believe this house stole her future, and I was just the key to getting it back. The more I traced the pattern, the more it became clear. Sophia didn't just marry me. She infiltrated me. She gained control over the consulting firm, the Cross Family Trust, my voting power in the board. And all she had to do was love me just long enough to get inside the vault. I went back to my laptop and opened a folder marked Personal. It contained emails I'd archived and forgotten. Love notes Sophia sent me in our first year of marriage. Back then, they made me believe in fate. But one of them stood out now. The subject line, "Your father would be so proud of you." I opened it. Attached, a photo of me giving a speech at our firm launch. Smiling, confident. In the background, Marianne, watching, smiling faintly. You weren't the prize. You were the doorway. Buried in a private folder on her laptop, I found a draft of an unsigned letter, never sent. Ethan will never know the truth, but he doesn't have to. We don't need to destroy him, just the house that made him. There's a special kind of pain in pretending everything is fine when you know the walls are already collapsing. That's what walking into the office felt like. Sophia was already there, at my desk. "You're late," she said, smiling. "Didn't sleep much," I replied. She handed me coffee. "Maybe you should take some time off. You've been stressed." Her voice was syrupy sweet and deadly. I walked past her and shut myself inside the glass-walled conference room. Then I opened my inbox. 3 unread emails. 1. Trust revision, final sign-off. 2. Board meeting, change of control proposal. 3. HR flag, psychological risk report. Cross, Ethan. I clicked the third one. It was a complaint, allegedly from 2 employees, raising concern about my erratic behavior and emotional volatility. The complaint referenced mood swings, unprovoked shouting, and paranoid suspicions. None of it was real, but it was now on record. I pulled up the trust document next. Sophia had added a clause under my name stating, "In the event that Mr. Ethan Cross is deemed medically or emotionally unfit to serve as managing partner, full authority shall transfer to Sophia Delacroix Cross as interim sole trustee." Signed, dated, digitally authenticated. And the kicker? The attached PDF showed the signature page, with my signature. Only, I'd never seen this version before. The board meeting was scheduled for Friday. She had aligned 5 out of 7 board members behind her. The other 2 were silent, undecided, or scared. One of them used to be my father's legal protégé. Now, they were being offered a seat in the restructured company if they voted me out. At this point, Sophia didn't even have to argue that I was unstable. All she had to do was convince the room I was too distracted to lead. The groundwork was done. Doctor reports, forged, complaints, filed, power of attorney, quietly activated, new trust structure, approved. All that remained was the vote. And they'd take everything, my name, my shares, my control, all under the guise of a compassionate transition. Sophia knocked gently on the glass. "Everything okay in there?" she asked. I smiled back. "Yeah, just tying up loose ends." She nodded and turned to leave. She didn't see the USB drive I slipped into my pocket, labeled Cross Surveillance Week 11, because she wasn't the only one collecting evidence. You can't win a game you didn't know you were playing, but once you see the board, you don't panic. You flip the game entirely. So I did the one thing neither Sophia nor Marianne expected. I stepped back. I stopped fighting, cancelled meetings, skipped the board vote, let them believe I was unraveling. I even accidentally dropped a bottle of anti-anxiety pills on the marble kitchen counter. Let Sophia find it. She smiled. "You're doing the right thing," she said softly. "Take care of yourself. We'll manage things." She poured me tea that night. I didn't drink it. Instead, I set up 3 new things in secret. 1. A private legal team, not tied to the family's firm. 2. A silent partnership with a cybersecurity firm in Atlanta. 3. Daily audio backups from microphones I'd installed under her car, bedside drawer, and office chair. Then I called someone I hadn't spoken to in 15 years, Louisa Grant. She used to work for my mother, a soft-spoken woman with a steel spine and photographic memory. She picked up on the second ring. "Ethan Cross? I thought I'd never hear from you. You knew Marianne, didn't you?" Silence. Then, "Sweetheart, that woman doesn't know how to stop. You think you married into her family. She married into yours, long before you were born." Louisa came by the next day with an old leather folder. Inside were letters, scanned copies of correspondence between Marianne and Gregory Cross, my father. There was one dated July 1989. "I've kept my silence. You owe me that much. But you took from me, Gregory. You took our daughter. You took my voice." Another letter 2 years later. "She's older now, smarter. One day she'll return, and you won't see her coming." I flipped to the last document. Louisa's hands trembled as she handed it to me. Sophia's original birth certificate. Father, blank. Mother, Marianne Holloway. But scribbled in faded ink at the bottom, biological father, Gregory Cross, unconfirmed but known. So Sophia wasn't just the woman I married. She was the last ghost of my father's sins. And I wasn't the mark. I was the bloodline, the last cross to burn. So I started the counter-strike. I planted my own careless mistake, left an open folder on my desktop titled Legal Incompetence Forms, Draft. Within an hour, I got a text from Marianne. "It's working. Don't gloat yet." Perfect. I screen captured everything, including the call between Sophia and their attorney, where she said, "By next week, Ethan won't be able to sign a grocery list without my permission." They thought they were burying me, but I was already digging under them. In a hidden drawer beneath the safe, I placed a voice-activated recorder. Then I whispered into it, "Phase 2 begins now," and hit record. The gate opened without a question. She was expecting me. Marianne Delacroix stood in the doorway of her beachfront home like she'd been rehearsing this scene for decades. Same grey shawl, same perfect posture, same eyes as her daughter. Sharp, unreadable. "You came alone," she said. "So did you," I replied. She motioned to a chair on the veranda. I didn't sit. "How long?" I asked. "Since the day you were born," she said. "Your father killed my life, Ethan. All I did was wait for the right seed to grow back through his." She walked slowly to a cabinet and poured tea. I didn't touch mine. You knew this wasn't about you, she said. It was never personal. You used me, I said. She smiled. No, I used your name. You just carried it. She sat back. Sophia didn't even know the full truth at first. I let her believe you were a good man. I wanted her to fall in love, so she could see what it felt like to lose. You trained her, I said coldly. I raised her. I protected her. I gave her purpose. Unlike your father, who gave her nothing but DNA and silence. I reached into my coat pocket and placed a photo on the table. It was a copy of a hospital intake form. 1989, Charleston Memorial. A young woman admitted with bruises, fractured ribs, and signs of assault. Patient, Marianne Holloway. She didn't flinch. You think I didn't try the legal way? No one cared what a maid said. They erased me, so I built a new version of me. She leaned in. Do you really think Sophia seduced you out of love? I said nothing. She did, Marianne whispered. That was the problem. She fell in love with you, just like I did, with Gregory. Her eyes darkened. But unlike me, she still had a choice, and she chose both, you and the plan. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because it's over, she said. You've already figured it out. And Sophia? She's not who she was 10 years ago. She slid a USB drive toward me. That has everything. Every lie. Every transaction. You can burn us both down, Ethan. Why would you give me that? Because I see it in your eyes. You're not your father. I picked up the drive. No, I said quietly, but I carry his damage. I turned to leave. Before I could step off the porch, she said, You weren't the enemy, Ethan, but you were the easiest door into the house. As I opened my car door, I got a text from Sophia. Just 2 words. I'm sorry. Attached, a video file. Her, sitting in our bedroom, holding the wedding photo. If you're watching this, it means you finally know everything. Justice doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes it sounds like a click of a pen, a digital timestamp, a signature placed exactly where they never expected it. I called Sophia that morning. Let's talk, I said. No lawyers, just you and me. I want to end this fairly. She hesitated, but agreed. We met in a neutral space, a private notary office on Queen Street. No cameras, no staff beyond one witness, and the official. I brought one document. Transfer of executive rights, Delacroix and Cross Holdings. I told her I was giving it up, admitting defeat, handing her everything. What's the catch? She asked. No catch, I said. Just a final clean break. I'll sign everything over in writing. No court battle, no press, no revenge. Her eyes scanned me for cracks. And in return, she asked, I walk away with my name, that's all. She smiled. You always wanted the legacy more than the money. She took the pen, flipped to the signature page, signed, notarized, dated, fingerprinted. I smiled and pressed a small remote in my pocket. From the briefcase beside me, a red light blinked twice. Recording complete. What's that? She asked, nodding toward the bag. I opened it slowly and removed the hidden camera module. Set it on the table between us. It's the confession, I said. Her smile vanished. What? That signature? It's for a dummy corporation I dissolved yesterday. The real document was just the decoy to get you on video admitting you knowingly took control of assets built on fraud. I pulled out another envelope. Here's what I'm actually filing: your forged psychological complaints, the fraudulent trust, and the psychiatric evaluations from a dead doctor in Wyoming. Her hands trembled. You don't have to go down for this, I continued, but your mother will, and if you try to take the company, you'll follow. She opened her mouth, but I raised a finger. You fell in love with me, Sophia. That's what ruined your mother's plan, but I didn't let that stop me. She looked away, defeated. What now? Now, I said, you sign one more thing. I placed a new paper in front of her. Voluntary relinquishment of stakeholder authority and executive powers. She signed it, silently. As she handed it back, she whispered, "You're just like him, Ethan." I shook my head. No, he destroyed women to feel powerful. I destroyed power to feel human. It didn't take long. When one lie falls, the rest come down like bricks in a storm. First came the board resignation letters. 3 of Sophia's appointees stepped down after federal subpoenas were issued. Then came the audit, triggered by the confession video I handed over to the DA's office. Undisclosed financial manipulation, fraudulent signatures, attempted power of attorney abuse, and finally, the press found out. A single headline summed it up. Southern power couple accused of legacy scam built on fraud, bloodlines, and betrayal. Sophia didn't go to jail, but she lost everything: the firm, the shares, the estate on the river. Marianne, she disappeared. Her last known location was a private flight to Portugal, booked under the name Marie Holloway. She'd done this before. She'd do it again, somewhere else, with someone new. But she wouldn't do it with my name. I declined the board's offer to return as CEO. I gave up the Cross estate, sold my remaining shares, walked away with nothing but the clothes I wore and the name I chose to keep. Not because I lost, because I finally understood that winning isn't about owning something. Sometimes it's about choosing to walk away before it rots you from the inside out. I bought a small house on John's Island. Quiet, old, honest. I rebuilt in silence. But I couldn't stop thinking about my mother. She died when I was 17. Cancer. Graceful to the end. But I wondered now, did she know? Did she know about what Gregory did to Marianne? Did she die holding that truth? One rainy morning, I visited her grave for the first time in 6 years, laid down fresh lilies, and whispered, "You raised me to be better than him. I hope I was." As I turned to leave, my phone buzzed. A blocked number, one new message, a photo. Sophia, sitting by a window, her eyes tired, her hair shorter. Beneath it, a caption. "I let go too late, but I did love you." I stared at it for a long time, then hit delete. As I walked back to the car, I noticed something taped to the windshield. A legal envelope, no return address. Inside, a single page, handwritten. "Gregory Cross wasn't your only father. There's more you don't know. There's a difference between walking away from your past and being free of it." I didn't understand that until I opened the letter left on my windshield. It was written in ink, careful, precise, like someone had rehearsed every word 100 times. "Gregory Cross was not your only father. Your mother left Charleston for 6 months in 1982. During that time, she reunited briefly with someone she loved, before being forced to marry Gregory out of family pressure. His name was Isaac Warren. Look into him, and maybe, finally, you'll see who you really are. No signature, just the truth, or the possibility of one. I did look him up. Isaac Warren, a civil rights attorney in Atlanta, died in 1993. Never married, no children listed. But his law firm had archived files, photos, handwriting samples. I compared one of his letters to a birthday card my mother gave me when I was 5. Same cursive, same phrasing. I ran a DNA test, saliva sample, cross-referenced with public genealogy databases. Results came back in 6 days. 99.8% match. Isaac Warren. Gregory Cross wasn't my father. He was my mother's prison and her curse, but not mine. Suddenly, everything made sense. The kindness in me that never matched his cruelty. The voice in my head that always resisted. The part of me that refused to become him, even when I had every reason to. It wasn't his blood. It never was. I filed the papers 2 weeks later, dropped Cross as my last name, took my mother's maiden name. From now on, I'd be Ethan Warren. I used the last of my inheritance to fund a legal protection trust for women escaping domestic abuse and coercive control. No board, no stockholders, no strings. Just real protection. The kind Marianne never got. Sophia sent me one more message. I never replied. Some wounds don't heal. Some loves were never meant to. But I believed her when she said she loved me. That's what made it all so tragic. And now, I live in a house that creaks when it rains, make my own coffee. Sometimes I sleep until noon. But I am free. For the first time in my life, I am not someone's weapon, or someone's legacy, or someone's mistake. I'm just Ethan. I walk the beach every morning. Same route, same footprints, washed away by the tide. And every time, I whisper the same thing. I was born into a lie, but I won't die in one.